Welcome to the Halftime Podcast, a 15-minute show where two panellists with opposing views must discuss why theirs is the best, and you get to decide the winner.
Hello, I'm Danny Cook, and welcome back to another episode of the Halftime Podcast. Today, I'm joined by two fantastic panellists. We have, first up, our resident Brighton fan and head of content for Halftime, Cuppa, Charlie Pumfrey. Hello.
Hello, Danny. How are you doing? Back
I'm
again.
fine.
Like a bad rash. You can't get rid of it.
Yes, I know. But hey, it's a pleasure to have you back on, as always. So thank you for coming on.
No problem.
And joining Charlie, we also have Mr. Social Media himself for all things Halftime Cuppa, Ese Agboaye. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Hi, guys.
How are you?
I'm all right.
Good. Before we go any further, let's just have a quick chat in terms of football. Obviously, at the time of recording, we've got England tonight. England are playing Italy, I believe, at the very famous Wembley Stadium. What predictions are you guys going with? So we can come back in 2 weeks' time and
it's going to be incredibly boring and dull, and we won't learn anything from it. Well, did you want a score prediction?
Yeah, the score prediction as well, please.
0-0.
0-0. Okay, Ese, what are you going for tonight?
Score draw, 1-1.
Yeah, I have to say, I think I'm going for a score draw as well. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to go with Ese 1-1. We'll go with that.
Brilliant.
Yeah, sorry, Charlie.
That's all right. No, I know when I'm in the wrong.
We'll come back to that in 2 weeks' time. We'll find out who's the real winner there. Anyway, they're going to be discussing and debating whether the FA have managed to kill off diving or are in the process of killing off diving. Don't forget that you get to decide the winner in the comments section below. So just a few moments ago, before we went on air, we done the toss to decide who is debating which way, and Charlie won the toss. And Charlie, which way did you choose?
I'm going to argue for the fact they haven't stomped it out yet in any sort of form.
Okay, and that obviously leaves Ese arguing in favour in the case that they have or they are in the process of doing that. So first things first, let's go to Charlie then. Charlie, why did you choose that option?
I mean, it's still happening, isn't it? I mean, I feel like every other week you find some sort of case where people argue whether there's contact, whether there wasn't contact, whether this should have been a penalty, whether it shouldn't have been. I mean, the only example of where they've kind of stamped, where they tried to stamp it out, was the Chelsea replay against Norwich in the FA Cup, where there were I think it was 2 or 3 players sent off for it. I just think that was it, to be honest. That was the kind of stand they were going to take and hope that quashed it, but hasn't really.
You see, just a general point is that I feel this season there's, I could be wrong, I feel like it's been less highlighted, as in there's been less incidents, numbers-wise, I feel. I could be wrong. Ese, what do you think?
I think the fact that the FA are trying to stamp out diving with their punishment helps. But the thing is though, players will find new ways of trying to deceive the referee, thus making it harder to know when a dive is a dive. Yeah,
that's very true. And obviously with VAR coming in, Charlie, do you think that that's going to help stomp out diving, or whether you think it's still going to be subjective and hard to tell at times?
Well, I think actually, if you look at what VAR is, diving isn't really in its remit. It isn't really there to stamp out diving. It's there for, I think, 4 specific situations where it's like wrong identity, penalty, goals, and red cards. And so I just don't think it's in VAR's remit to go looking for diving. And I think the minute they do that, you're just going to end up, you'll have to look at every yellow card decision then. And I think that's just something you won't be able to do. That'll be overextending. And I think, as much as I'm someone who's, I think I'm a push for VAR, but I don't think it would work if they went looking for diving. I think it is, honestly, I think it's like time wasting. Like, you're always going to have it at the end of a game. You're always like, if your team's 1-0 up and they need to win the league, I think even as a fan of the team, you'd be like, get the ball in the corner. Okay, you've got a goal kick, take it slowly, or if you need a goal to win the league and a player feels contact or enough to go down, then I think it's difficult with dive, isn't it? Because if you're on one side of it, you think that's disgusting. How can it happen? But if you're on the other side, you feel like you got away with it a little bit. So I think a lot of it's perspective.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure though at the moment the way that the FA are sort of reviewing it is in it's the key dive, the dives where you've gained an advantage, so a penalty per se. Would that not maybe, if it was to go to VAR and they were to judge, because obviously VAR does just key match instance, such as you say, a penalty. Do you think that they would spot that at all and maybe give a free kick the other way?
I think maybe in that specific situation there's a possibility of it, but I mean, to be honest, you're talking again about the diving board that they've set up this season to try and pick people off about it. Only two people have been given a ban because of it. It's this whole season, so there's been more than 2 cases of diving to deceive a referee this season.
Yeah, no pun intended there, clearly.
Yeah.
And on that then, so you're obviously saying that it's not being fully, it's still there in the game, and I personally would agree it's still there, and I think unfortunately you're gonna get it, but is there anything the FA could maybe do looking forward that they're maybe not doing right now that they should be doing?
I think, to be honest, the only way to stamp it out is you have to be harsh on it. You have to be harsh. You have to say, look, we have this board. If they have any doubt that you've dived, you get a ban. Then no one would do it. No one would attempt it. And then you can start to line it off out of the public eye. You can start to say, look, okay, I know we said everything that looks like a dive, but if you did that for a 1-2 year period, it would scare people off. Managers wouldn't tell their players to do it. I mean, come on, every manager says they don't and says they hate it. But you know what they're saying. You know what they're saying at training. They're like, if you feel contact, you go down. If you feel like you're going to receive contact, you go down. That's how it works. And so actually, I think if you really stamp down on it, I think they're taking the first steps towards that with this diving board, but it's going to take time and it's going to take a continued effort to say, okay, we think you've dived, that's it. 1 match ban, 2 match ban, and players will start to understand.
So you feel the idea of the panel itself is a good idea. It's just that they're not being as extreme.
Much like VAR, it's the implementation.
Okay, and I suppose I suppose you probably go on social media after games, and especially when there's been an alleged dive in a game. I don't know if you've seen it, but you see all the comments like, "Oh, the panel should check this one, and they should check this one," like they won't do anything with this one. Do you think it's maybe that perception that hasn't helped the fact that they're there, but they're seen to not be doing as much as what they could be doing?
I think there's an element of that, isn't it? It's the perception of, okay, you're not doing enough. You're not they haven't, like I say, 2 cases all season. It's an easy stat to point towards. If you're against it, you can say, look, they haven't got the teeth. They obviously don't understand. They don't understand, but don't want to go out and find these players out for diving and sort of, like I say, give them the ban that might actually discourage them from doing it. But what you've got to be careful of is what you need to do really is get the mindset right to get managers coming in that aren't going to do that, that want to win a game fairly. And it isn't going to happen in football, unfortunately, because it is a case of if it's even the Championship playoff final, you lose it, that's £100 million that you've just said goodbye to because you want to play the game the right way. I think every team would do it, wouldn't they? If you're in that position, if you're that player. I mean, it's the World Cup. It's the World Cup this year. I mean, you're going to see it there more than anywhere else because it means so much.
Well, let's bring in Ese now. Ese, slightly to the side now, but would you say the players are to blame for this, for diving? Well, there you go. Go on.
100%, yes. And the reason is that I think diving is as I said earlier, diving is something that's going to become more difficult to spot, and the players are doing the referees no favors whatsoever.
Just on that then, I mean, obviously we've got new technology in VAR coming in, but say if there was something where, I don't know, it measured the impact on various parts of your body. I don't know what else they can do because I feel it's very subjective. Because unfortunately, unless you had something like that where you could track and you could maybe see how much
Contact.
yeah, how much contact, that's the word, thank you, has happened. You don't know, do you?
Suggesting something like Hawkeye they have in cricket for finding out if a ball's caught the bat on and out.
Yeah, but
Sort of
I
a
mean,
heat map.
even
Not
then,
Hawkeye, but is it called Sneak or something like that?
Might be.
Yeah.
I
They
mean,
could use,
go on.
but the thing is though, the main thing I have with technology, the thing that it's a problem though, because with technology using to find other players dive, it's just gonna make the game slower.
Yeah, and obviously a slower game is not what football needs right now, to be honest, anyway. But that's something for another day that could be discussed in the comment section. But yeah, I think it's an interesting. I think it's very subjective. I think certainly when I go out there on a Sunday and I'm having to referee, it's hard. It's hard sometimes to call it. Because you get the blatantly obvious ones, and you tend to see the blatant obvious ones where the hands go forward and they've flung themselves to the ground or anything like that. But it can be hard because sometimes actually, even though they win the ball, it's still a foul. So that's worth keeping in mind. Okay, so we're almost out of time here, but just a quick question to chuck in here then. Charlie, you're a coach yourself. Is there anything that you think that coaches, managers, or even clubs as a whole could do to sort of stamp out diving?
I mean, there is, but it's not in their own. It wouldn't benefit them to do that, would it? Really, like I've said, in football, with so much money in it at the top level, and actually, I think a lot of that attitude filters down to the lower levels. That ultra competitive nature that even I've seen coaches. I mean, I coach under 13s teams. So I see plenty of other coaches that are just there for their own success. And if that means telling their players that they should go down in the box and try and win a penalty, or go to try and get a player, well, obviously it doesn't really happen so much at our level, but trying to get players sent off, I think it's just something people will do. People will always try and engineer an advantage. And I think that's something that's at the core of diving. And I think that's something that you'll really struggle to get out. Absolutely.
So what's your views on this?
If there's anything to do to stamp out diving, I'd say increase maybe 1 match ban to 3 match ban.
Okay. That's a full-time whistle, but we'll carry on just shortly. So increase the ban, increase the sort of the length of the ban. You think might send out a stronger message? I'm guessing. Yeah. Charlie, do you agree with that?
I think so. I think, like I say, it's about really making players fear the ban more than want the advantage it would create.
Yeah,
I think that's the main thing.
I mean, I would agree actually, because that player could be diving to win a penalty to win 3 points, and they miss, say, 1 game. It doesn't really. It kind of just evens it. It doesn't really sort of, I think, outweigh the cons to the pro, because, like, say that's a key player who goes down, wins the penalty. he's won 3 points and he's out the next game, but he's then back for the next couple of games. If he's then missing for, say, 2 further games, he's out for 3 games in total. It's 3 points in the short term, but could be missing out on 9 points. So,
if they're a key player, 3 games could be at a crucial time in the season, could be a real issue.
Exactly. I think that's actually the right way to go. That's a good idea. I like that. Well, as you heard, that the full-time whistle went just a little while ago, but the debate doesn't just end there. So feel free to let us know your thoughts and comments in the comments section below, and don't forget to vote too which way you'd like to see in terms of whether you think the FA have killed off or are in the process of killing off diving. Let us know in the votes. I was going to say the vote section, the poll below. So let us know there. Be sure to check out the various pieces of content we have scattered across our site, as well as our football predictor at halftimecuppa.com. Charlie, you've done a few pieces this week. You did a few pieces this week. Just talk us through one of your latest and greatest pieces, I think.
Oh, thank you. The piece that went out, well, I'm not going to date this, but a piece went out recently about English players making the move abroad. And that actually it's something that is of real value, and it's something that should happen more and more. And give that a read if you're interested in that sort of topic.
Definitely worth a read. So go check that out. Before we wrap up, Charlie and Ese, how do we follow you guys on social media?
If you can find me at Charlie Pumfrey on Twitter.
Cool. And Ese?
At A96OAYE.
Brilliant. And I'm at Danny Cook 1996 on Twitter as well. Thanks again to today's panelists, Charlie Pumfrey and Ese Agboaye. Thank you very much, gents.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
No problem at all. I've been your host, Danny Cook, and you've been listening to another episode of the Halftime Podcast. Goodbye.